Still don't have an intro, and I tell you what, mine. It's January the 7th now. This is what my computer says, and it's been a tough couple of weeks. I've been grinding 10 hours every day. I've been making videos for 5, 10 hours every day, trying to sleep somewhere. You can see here, I haven't even had time to clean in months. Like, I have chicken, strawberries, busy sweets, coffee, tea, water, and French fries. I mean, I eat, I work, I put everything there. It's a disaster. It's an absolute shit show right now. But yeah, this video is going to be a video of me playing the 1K blowout series, which I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but I did pretty well. I recorded my thoughts for 20 hours from the very start of the tournament to the very end, saying what I was doing in every single hand. So if I'm folding the cutoff with 7 deuce off, I'm like, okay, I'm folding here, but I would open this, I would open that. This is going to be all of the hours, they're all going to be in my course. So when I'm going to upload the full tournament to my full course, but for YouTube, you guys don't want to let me monetize 20 hours worth of content. I know you guys, the comment section would be hating me if I put a 20-hour stream up here. So I've condensed this all into like a 1 hour, into like a 40-minute version where you can enjoy the bad beats, the sun running, the big bluffs, the hero folds, the bad plays, etc., etc. So I really hope you enjoy this. I know you guys liked the 1K or the 1K review I did like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's loads of good feedback about that. So really thanks a lot for the feedback, but also I thought I would do more of this kind of content because I think this is what people kind of like. By the way, Aqua Panna. Got a story about Aqua Panna. I was Luke Schwartz was in my house grinding like, I don't know, a year ago. And Luke Schwartz comes around. I'm like, okay, I'll get him some roasted peanuts, I'll get him some Fiji water. I'll try to act baller, like Luke Schwartz comes around. I don't want him to think I'm a pigeon, right? So get the Fiji waters, and Luke's like, no, Fiji waters are for pigeons. And I'm like, fuck's sake, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't know what good water is. I can't taste the difference. But when I'm in Bobby's room, look at him throwing a little Bobby's room subtle bragging. He says, when I'm in Bobby's room, they only drink Aqua Panna. So if Doyle drinks Aqua Panna, this is what the ballers must drink. So since that day, I've sacked off the Fijis, and now it's Aqua Panna only. So thanks Luke Schwartz for the recommendation. The Run Good Water. It's not an ad. No hashtag ad. But yeah, anyway, thought little just diversion there. I just thought I'd tell you about my Aqua Panna story. And yeah, going to jump straight into the action. No. What's up, guys? We have the hopefully final table of the 1K. We streamed it yesterday, or we recorded it yesterday. And what happened when I left was I had one table left. It went pretty well. I have a command and chip lead going into the final two tables. I have 2.8 million and the short stack is 150k. So we're going to redraw tables now, and we can see here that I have a pretty tough table. I have Graphy on my left, I have a lot of regs here. The other table has a few more amateurs. So I'm going to play this table. I'm also going to play some other tables too. Tommy's all in with queens against nines. Let's see if he can hold. He does hold. It's a big hold for Tommy. And now I have two big stacks on either side of me who are both good players. Interesting here, sixes. I feel like sixes is probably a better bluff catcher than like king than like pocket queens at this point. Like queens blocks, queen tens, and those kind of hands. I kind of like my sixes here, to be honest. I could fold on the turn sometimes, but getting this far, I think sixes is a better bluff catcher than blocking 6-8 is quite nice, and he's also going to bluff 6-8 for that big size in. So I'm going to go for a call here. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a really nice one. Sixes min bet faces a shove by the 7, turns the 2 pair, and we're at the final table. And this should be really interesting now. Let's have a look what's going on. We have 96 big blinds, Elmeric's on our direct left, which is not good. Loose fish on our direct left, which is, or like not fish, like loose player on our direct left. We don't know. Triple in Wizard of Oz and Graphy, Joseph. This is going to be an interesting final. Ace 9 of course going to be an open straight away. Going to register this tournament party as we speak. I'm going to raise Jack 10. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm not going to be like mindlessly aggressive, but I'm definitely going to be on the aggressive side. Graphy defends, and this is a really bad board, of course. I'm going to bet we make Queen Jack fold. We make King Jack fold, King 10 fold. We have spades. We have 2 overs to the 8. I think it makes sense. Shouldn't get too many raises against us, I don't think, on this board. Even like a6 probably going to play quite passively. Turn, we're going to go for a big bet and be polarized and make even like an ace fold potentially. Nice to have a spade. You know, like even a hand like 8-7 is in a really tough spot right now. We'll have some flushes, of course. We'll have some 2 pairs, of course. Have some sets, of course. Big blind. He's in a tough spot, and my range is betting polar. It's a really nice bet. I like it a lot. Important to get that momentum through. It's a really important pot to win against a big player. If he won that pot, he'd be up to like 50 plus big blinds, which is really crucial for us then passively. There's no reason to free bet this hand. We don't want to create a huge pot. We want to go into kind of bluff catch mode out of position in this defensive way. We definitely want to consider free betting or the possibility of free betting, so we'll take my time. It's a good flop for us. We can improve to the nuts. Some check raising, maybe get ace, king, ace, queen to fold. We have a spade, of course, as well. So some check raising here. Versus small bet. I think check raise is pretty good. That is a small bet. We can make pocket sevens fold, stuff like that now. So I'm going to go for a check raise. The hands when I check raise are like hands which want to force loads of money into the pot. So I think it's good to go for this large sizing. We also have a spade. We can hit a 10. We get the fold. It's really good for us, I think. I think our hand, this deep stack, wants to go for that big sizing. If we have bottom set, we want to force loads of money in, stuff like that. Our hand wants to get max fold equity. When we're bluffing, we want to have max fold equity. So I like the line. I'm gonna open the 7-5 off. Got an ace king in here against queens. I think 7-5 off on the final table is fine. He's just gonna play too tight, most likely. Not too much free betting. We get to put pressure on post flop. We have to understand our image too, though. We've played not every hand, played lots of hands, shown down big bets, so we need to be somewhat careful with that. I think this hand is okay to like delay and then bluff, but it's also fine to just bluff and force out like jack 8 and those kind of hands. I want to bet size and where like ace 5 folds with the 5 of hearts or whatever. Probably going to be this size. Can turn a 6, can turn a 3. I think it's not. I think overbetting here is okay. Like when we overbet, he's going to fold a 4, he's going to fold jack 10, he's going to fold jack 9. We don't have a heart. I think overbetting here looks quite good. Looks like very greedy as well. I think like even a hand like queen 7, queen 8, queen 9 is going to fold versus the overbet here. I think it looks really strong. And we're betting like a pretty strong range here, right? I think it's a good overbet. It looks like quite punty, but when we unblock all the 10s and the 9s and the jacks and stuff and an ace as well, I think going for this really large overbet is going to work out pretty well. Of course, we're going to run into King X sometimes, but I think our hand works as a pretty nice bluff. I'm blocking ace X, I'm blocking hearts, I'm blocking jacks, I'm blocking 10s, I'm blocking 4s, I'm blocking ace. Like, I think it's a pretty nice spot to bluff, and we get it through. Clap it through. Let's go. Yeah, I think it's very easy to miss those kind of double barrels. I think it's very easy to miss those kind of double barrels. So yeah, I like it. We're just going to take a little bit because if we have, you know, like queen jack, king queen, we may think about it. If we snap fold, it looks like we have a very bad hand. So I'm just going to take 5-10 seconds and fold. Because if you snap fold in, maybe like, this guy doesn't even have a hand he's even thinking about with the 10 big blinds. He's definitely opening too wide. So when I next get king jack off, I'm going to go after him because he has so many auto folds. He told me he had queens. Yeah, I actually think the time intel on him is quite strong. Maybe I watch back the replay and see that he doesn't have queens, and then I'm like, fuck my life. But this guy always 3x opens, by the way. I'm going to just make a note. Always 3x opens. C is 2 suited. Low jack. Jack 2 off, definitely going to be a fold versus 3x especially. Seven's going to be all in against these guys, these guys, these guys. Against Grafby, it's quite close. He's been playing very tight, so he shouldn't be too loose. Could just call. This guy opens. Could shove on him. He should be calling very tight. He's not going to miss many opens. He's been opening ace 10 off. With eights and nines, it really sucks for him. If we lose, we go down to 60 big blinds. So we're still second in chips, but yeah, I think calling here is okay as well. I think sevens is close. Either way, we can decide either way. We'll call a c-bet here. We do quite well on this board. We can bluff on nines and tens and stuff like this, and eights potentially. Definitely call the size, and he can just be betting, you know, like ace nine suited or whatever. Interesting turn. I may block the river, depending on what the river is. I'm not going to lead the turn here if I'm a small blind. If I do improve, I'm going to play check and then bet rivers. That's again somewhat suspicious. On this river, I think we're going to block. I think we have a lot of potential bluffs. We have 9-8 suited, 10-9 suited, king 10 suited, king 9 suited. So if he has ace high, ace kings, ace tens, he could potentially call us. So I'm going to go for a bet. He's not going to expect me to bet pull the queen, so he's not going to bluff raise, I don't think, with ace king or ace 10. So I'm going to go for a 20% bet. There's not been many chips put in the pot. My hand's not worth much, but it's worth about this, I think. We get raised, we have an easy fold for where we are in our range, I think. His bluff raises might be like 7-8 suited kind of hands anyway. If he bluffs us, then congrats. We'll have a jack. We'll have a queen. We'll have pocket sixes. We'll have pocket threes. We'll have queen jack. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see that. Nice to get these value bets in. Like, true gangster. It's a nice value bet. Let's just remind ourselves of the stacks. It's always good to remind yourself of the stacks pretty often just to see like who has pressure, who doesn't, etc. So these guys are all in kind of a similar territory. That yeah, queen 10, easy shove. Hopefully we get folds. We get called by ace jack. Hit 10. Feel bad, my friend. Running good. He's not running good. I have to shove my hand like. Black goes for the double barrel. We're going to go for a raise. We're going to have a lot of 4x that we bet called that we call the flop with. He's going to bluff over cards, and we get a really nice raise through there. Everyone's happy that I got them the ladder. 9-4 off. I'm not going to be recklessly open. We have 5.6 million. We have 600k, 700k, 800k. Those kind of stacks. So still pretty happy. Rafi all in with ace queen. Wow, he has loads of outs. Jesus, that's brutal. To run into that blind versus blind, it's pretty brutal for sure. That was blind versus blind, right? Why he shoved the button? Oh, yeah, it's blind versus blind. Oh, raise, free bet all in, Grappy called. Interesting. Yeah, you're gonna shove worse ace x, worse queen x, of course. Brutal for Graffy. I mean, really good news for me because the two best players, I mean, arguably the two best players get knocked out, but they're both my friends. I both have a lot of respect for them, etc. We're going to check here. There's EV and allowing him to improve to ace, jack, ace, king. We can get a raise in on the river. Should have the best hand pretty often. He's going to bet a worse 9 for us on the turn pretty frequently. As played, we're now going to go for a half pot bet. We can get called from 8, 7s, a worse 9. I'm going to lose a bet anyway against jacks and 10s. So I think betting makes some sense. We have more 5x, etc. We can bluff just whatever we want to choose to bluff with. I'm going to 3-bet probos here, relatively small sizing for what I'm trying to achieve. Off, we'll defend and check raise. Get fold, which obviously would rather call, but whatever. It's better than getting beat by a slightly better hand. Fold versus this big bet. Go. Gonna open the 7-8 off. Continue the aggression. I think checking back top 2 is pretty good on a monotone board multi-way. Can improve to the nuts very well. We block hands which can continue. We don't have that much equity against a diamond. This guy loves to bet when check 2, as we know from previously playing against him. I'm gonna just check here. Play turns. This smashes both of their ranges. We block pocket 7s and pocket 8s, which are going to be probably the first folds. The 8 completes here on the river, but we're still going to value bet out king 9. We block a king, which is not great, but he's going to have like king jack, king queen enough of the time. So just a small bet. Typically, I'm not doing too many small bets in position on the river, but I think this one is a good spot to do it. Shouldn't face too many raises against us. Flushes will just keep betting himself. Deuces, I'm going to open larger and then call off this guy. Giving him a worse price to defend. He's a short stack, so he should be defending very wide. So I want to give him a worse price to defend in general. This triple guy goes for the call. Start with a check out of position. Can call a very small bet. Nuts is very disguised. Turn, we want to do lots of protection betting now, I think. Ace, queen, ace, jack, king, queen, queen, jacks, queen, 10, stuff like that. Have a look at the payouts. Payouts are guaranteed 7.8k. First place gets 35k. We have everything in between. We're a big chip leader right now. A6 10s all in. The ace wins, which is pretty good for us because take chip is a very experienced player. Him being down in chips is good. I wouldn't necessarily love to play him heads up, you know, versus like compared to some other possible heads up opponents we're going to be against. So yeah, I'm going to fold 10-7 off versus a 3x. I would call 10-9 against this guy. But you know, he's still playing quite. He is opening 3x, but he's opening like quite tight with it. So yeah, 2 aces is good. Is a good hand. Typically, the hands you want to have is like, well, aces is good in this situation. I'm gonna go for a rejam rather than a call. Obviously, I want this guy to call, so I'm gonna time rank it in a little bit. No snap fold. Okay, it's a good hand to be against. A lot of outs for him. It's a good result for us. Take him out, chip up. He's asking me if I'm streaming. I'm not streaming. I'm not lying to him technically. Going for ace queen for value. I'm going to call actually. When this guy goes all in, we get some rejams and stuff going on. Our hand plays pretty well. Free way against aggressive rejams. We may look weak. Maybe black squeezes against us and we can back raise jam, stuff like that. If Lars lose X jams, we're happy to gamble with up round. Big squeeze. I'm going to go all in against this. It's a back raise shove. Like, he can be bluffing here because he prices in against this guy. I'm going to be over calling very wide here. I don't have many hands to back raise jam. Like, I can get it in against Jackson 10 still. Like, we run it. We don't love it, but we run it. Yeah, it's a good spot. This is one of the reasons why I flat, because there's quite a lot of EV, because when these guys behind squeeze, they're going to squeeze fucking huge. And when they squeeze huge, it's so good for us. So much dead money and a bounty. Oh, you don't see it. Nines is a hand which really doesn't want to get check raised, but it also blocks the check raises, and we can still get value and want to protect against like king jacks and stuff as well. So I'm going to go for a bet. Don't expect to get too many raises against us. ISO this over here. This. So we now have 6.5 million. We are guaranteed 10k. The next page jump is not too big, 3k. We have 500k stack on our direct right that we need to be thinking about. How this influences all the action all the time. We can start with small. King 7 is out, and we are going to be 5-handed with a good player eliminated again. So it's good news for us. We now have Jack 5 off, which is not going to be an open. Stack size is 6.6, 3.5, 2.9, 2.2, 1.9. We're guaranteed 12.9k. Over limp and ace 5 off would be a big mistake to fold. This board is very good for imposition. We're going to free bet a large size from the big blind. We're very polarized like we've done previously. This sizing's pretty good. I give him more dead money for shoving. My range wants him to shove or fold. Like aces wants him to continue, but my range wants him to shove or fold. I think this sizing works out pretty well with our image, etc. We're gonna call fives a while. It's a big shove. Nice life for us. This guy put in lots of big blinds there. Yeah, interesting play. Don't think it's a bad shove. Don't think it's a bad shove, but when you get called in this spot, the problem is when you get called in this spot, you're pretty fucked. Like I'm not free bet calling ace jack, so when you get called by overpairs very often. So your fives are not too great here. Because if I have ace queen, I may not just go for it and free bet call. I'd probably just call or do a shove or whatever myself. So fives doesn't play too well as a free bet shove. You want to shove like I think like ace two off could make more money shoving then because like if my getting range is like tens, jacks, queens, kings, aces, ace, king, with ace deuce you block ace king, you block aces, you have equity against kings, queens, and jacks and tens, you have more equity. But when you have fives, you have like you only have two outs, right? So another thing I would say is just like take your time. Like he shoves so quickly. Like you're on a huge final table with like a bunch of amateur players and stuff. Like just take your time. Just take your time. Like think about stuff. Like do I want to shove fives? Fives may feel like a good shove, but just don't instinctively always shove. You know, like always take your time is so crucial in my opinion. Always take your time is so crucial. But very lucky for us, of course, to have aces and for aces to hold. So we're happy about that ourselves. We get a walk. We're now 1 out of 4 with a really big stack. King 5 off, we're going to be a limp in here. So we have 8.7 against, start with bet, 8.7 against 3.3, 3.1, and 1.9. It's good for us. 7, we're going to continue raising. We're quite deep now. These guys are not going to just get it in for 65 big blinds wide, so it's kind of an interesting situation how things are going to develop here. I think 4 bet and a7 versus a free bet would be pretty good. Versus this, I'm going to go for a pot size bet. I think even like 8-6 is in a really tough spot. We make better ace-x fold. We make like jack 9. Well, jack 9 probably doesn't fold. Make a 4 fold. We have an overcard. We have a good hand to barrel on turns, having the ace. Like let's say he calls 8-9 now. On the turn, we get to pot, and we have a good hand to pot because we have an overcard. We have the ace, and we put him into extreme pressure. So I like the big bet. King 10, we're going to go for the raise. And if we have like aces and kings, you know, kind of like to fire a bunch of money in there. Bottom sets, random queen X, etc. Going to probably fold this as a free bet. Good flop for us. I think we want to go for a small bet. We can make king jack fold for a very efficient size in here. And if he check raises, we can call with the second flush draw. Shouldn't do too much check raise. Like even 7-6 isn't super excited about check raising here. Turn a king. We're definitely going to go for a second barrel. Large bet. We've put loads of big bets in throughout this tournament, so it makes sense to go relatively thin with a big bet here. He shouldn't check raise much. Most of his raising is going to come on the flop if he decides to raise. This guy's 6.5 big blinds all in. He's rejamming 40. Decent bounty. Very close. Very, very close. I think people are too tight in this spot. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, I think people are. It's not surprising to see the nuts there. We shouldn't face too many raises on this turn. Wow, so this is kind of interesting. We don't have the second nuts. The 9 of hearts, the 4 of hearts both beat us. So King of Hearts is actually kind of interesting here. He's going to have the Ace of Hearts a lot. He's going to have the 9 of Hearts and 4 of Hearts always. He's going to fold the Queen of Hearts somewhere earlier lots of the time. So I'm going to check. We're going to win pretty often, but we're going to check back and maybe get coolered here. Yeah, fuck. Really bad river. Really bad river. I would have went for a third street and maybe would have got paid as well, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to fold this one. Shoving down here with a straight, unblocking pairs and hearts and stuff like this. Queens, we're going to get it in for value. We're not thrilled about it, but we're going to get it in for value here. If he folds, we're going to raise blind versus blind against him. He's folded quite a lot on the button, by the way. I'm going to free bet to 10 big blinds. Try to force him into an uncomfortable situation with his range. Probably makes him shove the underpairs that we do really well against. You may go crazy with like an ace-5 or something sometimes. We have a break after this hand. Not thrilled about getting 65 bigs in here, to be honest, with queens. But with our image and the way he plays, it's okay, I think. Getting fold, it's okay, good for image and stuff like that as well. This guy is quite tough. He doesn't want to do too much free bet, non-all-in. So it's quite tough for him to play. He doesn't want to do too much call-in. Triple, same situation, like isn't really incentivized to free bet call too wide. They'll have like decently high ICM pressure. Jack's gonna be an open. So we have 16k, 21k, 27k, 35. So his pay jump is 5k. If he shoves, we're definitely calling. He's gonna shove pairs and stuff. But if we get free bet from triple, we probably just call. He's gonna have some king queen offs and stuff, but it's fine. If this guy squeezes, we're gonna just call too. We don't want to get in so many chips. Should get no check raises from the small blind here. You should have lots of pocket pairs, king queen off that we can get protection versus. So I think c-bet here makes a lot of sense. Don't really want to have too many checks there. King 2 suited, we're going to go for a 3.8x or 3.7x open to make king 7, king 8 kind of fold. Especially because it's the first time I really want to punish him by isolating. Face a bet with ace queen, with no backdoors, we're going to fold. Our range is quite strong at this point. I'm going to check back the king 2, try to get to some showdown. His very quick limp call felt quite strong / scary, so I'm going to just show down my king high here. The 9's not great for me. Yeah, it just feels like he has a pretty strong hand. I mean, yeah, it's good to go. It's good to go with your reads and your time and tells and stuff there. Like he just doesn't have like a weakish like 9-6 off or whatever. I don't think. King 5 off. We just shown down king 2 when we raised, so like that's going to be in his mind, and he's by far the short stack. So I think limping here makes some sense. Get ISO'd, we can just fold probably. Gonna start with a bet. I'm gonna go like bet check or bet depending on the run outs. But yeah, definitely starting with a bet. We get raised, which is kind of bizarre. Shouldn't happen too often. Could be a free, like a just a 4-3 or something. Not gonna fold yet. On this card, we improved quite a bit, and he has some like 9-10s that he raised, whatever. So I'm gonna lead the turn. I think we have like ace queen. We have king 10s, king jacks, maybe a little bit more. We have pocket 10s potentially. Who knows? So I think it makes sense to lead on the turn here because we improve to the ace queens. Our aces wants to get a bet in again against king x, etc. And now on the river, we're going to just check and try to win. You could have king x of clubs, which is somewhat of a concern for the flop raise. Yeah, this turn bet is very, very, very nice, I think. I think it's important to just find these kind of spots. Like, yeah, he's raising like a hand for information, for value, for whatever, to try to get some free showdown. So it's important that when a turn comes that improves your range, it's important that you can bet so that you don't allow him to realize it's actually for free. And his flop raise is going to be less effective if we start playing turns really well against him. So I like our play. We could face a free bet here from triple. I think my hand has decent properties to four bet. He shouldn't be trying to get it in too wide in this situation. He free bet really quickly, which felt very weak to me. We don't have an ace, which is actually pretty good. Probably he's probably bluffing with an ace himself. So I'm going to go for the 4-bet, and I think we should have pretty decent fold equity. If he does shove, we haven't risked too much. And yeah, it was a very quick free bet from him initially. We're going to get it in here relatively wide for value, like jacks plus and ace king. This time doesn't work, but I think it's a good option to do this with. Quick free bet, we can make a note that that's strength in the future, because I think people will go one way or the other typically. This one's good. Jack 7, we're going to defend. Good flop for us. We don't really want to check raise and get so many chips in, because if we check raise, a spades come and we go blast blast, he's going to very often have a better flush. Not very often, but like somewhat frequently. Turn, we just want to go for small bets. This puts pressure on ace 5 of hearts, ace kings, pocket 7 or pocket 5s, pocket 6s. This river card, we have obviously a strong hand now. think we want to check. Ace queen will bluff. Ace 10 will bluff. Um, Ace 5, if he ever has a hand like that, will bluff. Like pocket sixes could somehow turn his hand into a bluff. He's still going to value bet a king. So I think it's good for us. He can also have queen 10 that he goes for bet with. We're going to raise and hopefully he doesn't free bet all in with the ace of spades. So he goes for this size and we are going to go for a big raise. If he has like ace queen with the ace of spades, it's so dirty, by the way. He could go for the re-raise all in. I think our sizing makes sense here. Get the fold. This is really good because when he snap folds, it means he doesn't have like a thin value bet, which starts to think about it. It means he always has like ace queen or ace 10. So we got a bet out of a hand, which we may not have done if we went for a traditional value bet. We're going to value bet against Lena on flop here. We're going to go for half pot, actually. He shouldn't have many raises. He has a lot of suited hands and ace highs, so I think our range likes to go half pot here. Flop trip jacks, which is good for us. I'm going to shove queens down here. Turn in ace, which is really good for us. We're going to go for third pot. With our range, we want to go quite small. I'm going to check raise my jack here. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to play mostly raising here. This guy 4-bets, we have kings, which are going to go with it. Good against queens, which is good for us. Wow, bad flop. Bad turn. Good river. Jack 10 now, we're going to go with a check on the turn. He's going to check back a lot of queen on the flop. Ace, we're going to value jam this river. We could be just running a bluff like 10-9 or something. Yeah, he can be bluffing here with some hands. And on the river here, we are going to go for a bet ourselves. He's going to have some flushes. He's going to have aces. He's going to have kings. He's going to have some ace highs. We're going to have like pocket fives or something that check raise. So I think we're going to go for a bet. Try to get called. He could raise us with a queen. Like, that's obviously reasonable. If he has a flush, he's going to call us. If he has aces, kings, he's going to call us. King, queen, call down for Lena. Interesting. Blocks our best ace-x, of course. So it seems decent. Pretty interesting if he finds a bluff raise here. Thinking we have a jack. Bit fold, which is okay. And queen, I'm going to check call. 10-4, we're going to just shove blind versus blind. We have enough ammunition for this. Calling again with this hand down here. Now we have 2 pair. We have a very good hand. We're going to value check shove. Can have some ace 5. It's probably going to check the flop. This guy should fold, hopefully. Going to check call here with the straight draw. We'll fold a pair. Right. Six out of 77 now over here. This guy's really tanking it in here. Be very interesting to see what he tank calls with. Like if it's like ace 9 or something, and then that tells us something. If it's like queen 2, then that tells us something as well. Okay, like this hand is a snap. Could be dead. We win, yeah. Like this hand for sure should be a call. He's a short stack. Like he does really well against my shoving range, but it's good to take your time to consider. We run good. We run good. And now we have 9 million against 3 million and 3 million. So we have, I'm going to check back this time. We have a really good spot where we can put pressure on both players. We can risk to lose one. We can risk to lose one stack and still be second in chips, or not to be a third stack. Raise the king queen for value. I'm going to just stick to this 3.5x for now rather than go into. It's going to be more frequently happening, so I'm just going to go to round amounts rather than giving bet size tells or anything. I think that's a good thing to do. If I go like 3.6 sometimes, 3.7 other times, they can get reads potentially on whatever's going on. But if I just always go to around 3.5x because it happens very frequently, like it's not going to fold around to a small blind when we're nine-handed because someone's going to just raise before him pretty often. But when we're free-handed, it's going to happen a lot. So I want to be more consistent with my sizings. Nine's quite neutral here. Both have a bunch of nines. I'm going to check a lot of nines. He's going to check a lot of nines on the flop. River, we're going to block bet the river for value. He's not going to fold a better hand, but he can call a queen high or jack high, thinking I'm just bluffing with 3-4 offsuit or something. You shouldn't have too many value raises, and yeah, we love to see it. Out of position, we can value bet thinly. In position, we don't want to value bet too thinly, typically. Freeze here, going to play as a double barrel. Start with a big bet on the flop, and then we're going to barrel the turn, get a 4 to fold, get a 10 to fold, get a draw to fold. The 2 is quite nice because he doesn't defend 10-2 or 4-2 pre-flop. So he hasn't improved to 2 pair very often. And when people don't improve to 2 pairs very often on the turn, I should defend balls there. If they don't improve very often to 2 pairs on the turn, it means you want to use in very large bets, over bets. So we're going to go for a 20 big blind bet. Like even a hand like Jack 5 is in a really tough spot right now. So yeah, I think this is a really good bet, and so important to find these when our opponent can't improve to 2 pairs on the river, on the turn. Sorry, so if he's not defending a hand like Jack 2 offsuit preflop, 10-2 offsuit preflop, 4-2 offsuit preflop, then our nuts on the flop are still super strong nuts on the turn, whereas his strong hands have just never really improved on that turn, right? So it's a good spot for us to be aggressive. Jack 10's a good hand. Jack 8's a good hand to squeeze. We fold out hands like Queen Jack off, King Jack off, Ace 8 off, stuff like that. He's opening quite a bit. He's calling quite a bit. We're dominated a lot by his calling range. So like when we call, we're dominated against like Queen Jack, King Jack. But when we squeeze, we make him fold those hands. So when we get called, our hand has decent playability. Like it's suited, we're in position. So it's a really good hand to squeeze in these kind of situations. Pocket freeze against an open, we're going to shove. It's kind of close, but I think freeze will go into a shove. Doubling him up is not too terrible. Like it's obviously never great, but it's definitely going to be a shove here. Pocket freeze has good properties to do so. It's nice to get it through. 10 jack off, we'll go for a raise. 3x, we're a little bit shallower now. I don't want to go too big and give him too much dead money that he can start jamming very wide. I'm going to call 5s versus a jam. He should be shoving really wide, but yeah. I think I'm going to call. It's really close, but I'm opening so wide. I need to defend some stuff. Okay, now we have an easy fold. Do we just end the tournament? Do we just end the tournament right now? Do we just end the tournament right now? I don't think so. Ace king, ace king. Oh, we could have ended the tournament. The 9 hits. The 9 hits. So that's good news for us. Good news for us. And now Joseph is down now to 16 big blinds. So I can put a lot of pressure on both players. Let's check a result. Jack of diamonds is nice for us. I'm going to go for a 3x pot bet. This is going to put really big pressure on 8x, 10x, 3x. We have some slow played hands. We have pocket breeze, 8-3, aces, stuff like this. Putting loads of chips in now when this guy has 16 big blinds is pretty good for us. We block some Jack of diamonds hands, which check back. So yeah, I think he's not checking back enough Queen X on the flop to help defend the turn frequency. So I think it's a really good play. I'm going to isolate small against Lena. I don't need to go for a big sizing. He's going to expect me to be very loose here, I think, and maybe go for some crazy limp shoves. I don't think it's that bad. I'm going to blast pot. It's tough to call with like pocket 9s, pocket 8s, ace 9s. Like you have to fold a lot. This guy shouldn't have too much. We have an overcard, like I said, to the jack. We block some flush draws. We block some ace queens. River free. And I guess we're going to continue betting. We're going to bet 20 big blinds. Well, actually, we're going to bet 16 big blinds because when we bet, we're going to put him down to be in with this guy's territory. So I think it's going to be good to use the sizing. Puts big pressure on him. He shouldn't check back a king too often. He will sometimes, but yeah, we unblock diamonds, which is really good for us too. Ace jack with a heart. Okay, we're not going to make that fold, but I think our hand is a decent bluff. Ace jack, not a bad hand to be against. Dicey flop, dicey turn, dicey river, unfortunately for us. They're all in 5s, ace 10, and 5s turns miracle, and we're heads up with a huge 100 big blinds. A huge 100 big blinds heads up match here, so this is going to take a lot of focus. I want to chop or play. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. We can chop. Okay. We can limp down and chop. Okay. ICM is what we want to do, I think. Feels bad doing it for the content because playing heads up would be good, but I also want to show responsible gaming, responsible gambling, whatever they call it. I'm going to do ICM. So ICM is going to give us $30,500. Locking up a 30k score early on in the year is always nice. He has... Is there any money left? I didn't see that. Is there any money left? I'm going to flip regardless, but I'm just making sure we just gamble. If there is money, let's agree to chop it just in case. Just want to make sure that we're in thing. All right, let's go. Queen King against fives. Good start. Good turn. Ah, nearly got the title. Good start. Bad turn. Bad river. Okay. It's fair. It's fair. All is love and peace and war. All right, so I'm going to end the stream now. This was really good. We chopped this tournament. I recorded basically my thoughts throughout a long time. And yeah, this is really good. All right, guys, so the video is finished now. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a comment. I love conversing with you guys in the comments. There's so much. If you go to the Jason Kuhn video and look down the comment section, some of the comments there were just ridiculously good. Like, people being so vulnerable, people saying stories about, you know, anything from losing their wife to being in such a tough state to, you know, experiences they've had which have improved them. Like, honestly, like, I know the comment section is supposed to be renowned to being like very negative and very feisty, etc. But you guys are honestly amazing. I actually genuinely look forward to seeing you guys comment. I actually thought I'd have like some anxiety about people like saying bad stuff or whatever. You guys are so nice and so friendly. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on any hands, if you thought you would do something different, if you want to know like why did I do this or why did I do that, please feel free to ask, and I always try to reply to every single person who comments. If you have enough time to spend to write me a comment, I have enough time to reply to that comment. If you do want to watch the whole video of all the hours of the whole playing the start, playing the middle, etc., playing the bubble, how I became the big chip leader, that'll be available on the course. I'm going to release some more details probably next week or the week after about where you can get the course, when it'll be out, exactly what will be in the course, etc. So again, thanks so much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, click the bell, all that kind of stuff. Don't need to say it anymore, I don't think. And thanks a lot, and I'm going to sign out. The next video should probably be Tuesday, and the next video is going to be a documentary on the most crazy hands in history of online poker. I'm really looking forward to that one. So if you press the bell, it will give you a reminder that the next video is going to come out. I'm becoming a bit of a pro at this, aren't I? Press the bell then, do this here. Okay, enough. Magic hands, signing out. Adios.